Quality care right here, right now. Click on our icon on DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. Today is the last day of classes for Clinton students, which means the Clinton Wise Camp Osage kicks off tomorrow. Melinda Akers with the YMCA explains that despite Camp Osage beginning tomorrow, there is no cutoff date for signups, making it the perfect option for families in need of short notice childcare this summer. She reminds that they are moving to an online registration form.
Yes, absolutely. So it's not that you do not have to register by a certain date.
Mm-hmm.
We leave the registration open all summer long.
Okay.
So if you realize at the beginning of summer, I don't need camp right now, and then July comes around and maybe things change for you and you do need camp, you can register at any time. This year, for the first time, we have all online registration. So what that means is that in the past, we have had registration where you can come into the YMCA, pick up a packet, fill it out, and take it to the front desk and get registered. This year, you can visit our website, Clinton YMCA website, and it's all online. You answer all of the same questions that you would have on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just walk through the process, and there is a $25 registration fee for registering for camp.
Mm-hmm.
That also comes with a t-shirt for the kid.
Mm-hmm.
We wear those on field trip days, so those are kind of important. But the online part of it is super easy. It's super, and it's great for us too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's beneficial in both ways.
Also online, you can find a full calendar of the summer's activities to help parents and students decide which days of Camp Osage are right for them. She points out that having a youth membership at the Y provides a discount on camp.
So we have an activity schedule that gets posted prior to that week of camp, and that will tell you, what the cost of going to the pool is, what the cost of the field trip is for that week. And how we manage that is, if your child comes to camp that day, then they automatically are going on the field trip, and that will be charged to your account just like a day of camp. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about sending cash with them.
Mm.
You don't have to worry about a charge being added on there for the field trip on whatever day we go. It's just wrapped up in your camp fee when you pay for your camp days.
Sure.
So we have two different price points. Camp is $56 per day. Or if you send your child all 5 days, it's $280.
Okay.
That is without a youth membership. If you get your child a youth membership, which is $20 a month, the cost goes from $56 down to $40. So almost in 1 day of camp, you've paid for the youth membership.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend going that route,
Mm-hmm.
even if you only plan on bringing your child a few days of the month to camp, because it definitely pays for it. So with that youth membership, camp is then $40 per day and $200 per week. You already have a family membership and your child is on your account for that, then it would be the $40 per day.
If you cannot afford to send your child to camp, Akers indicates that there are multiple ways that the costs can be covered or reduced through scholarships.
If there's anybody that would like to send their child and is not sure about the cost or if they can afford it, they can also apply for CCRN. That is a financial assistance program through the state of Illinois. We also offer scholarship at the YMCA. So if you stop by, we can get you the forms to fill out for that. So camp starts June 2nd. We will be there with bells on at 7 a.m. Registration is open. Visit our website at CommYMCA.org and go to the youth tab camp registration.
And again, you can register for camp at any point during the summer, correct?
Any point, yes, absolutely.
Camp begins June 2nd. Learn more and register by visiting ClintonCommYMCA.org or by finding the Y on Facebook. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, June outlooks predicting above normal temperatures. A Piatt County law enforcement leader is issuing a warning to business owners after an encounter with counterfeit bills. Monticello Police Chief Rob Bross is alerting business owners and cashiers to be observant of bills, especially large ones, after a fake $100 bill was almost accepted at a local pool.
Yep. So we had a kiddo here that had a replica $100 bill, and I know it's replica without even touching it because it says replica on it. But tried to pass it forward to buy, I think, a hot dog and nachos, something along those lines. So what we have seen in the past is we'll have one report. Usually we aren't too far away from 2, 3, or 4 other reports. We're going to work with our community liaison to put out some information to the businesses around here, just because we see a lot of this kind of ebbs and flows. But the money, we have the movie money where it says for motion picture use only. We've had people try to pass that forward. We've had about 2 or 3 years ago, it was odd. It was almost like a $5 or a $20 bill, but it had almost like Chinese writing on it. So they tried to push that, I believe, at our grocery stores.
Chief Bross explains that bank pens and other anti-counterfeiting tools are crucial to preventing these crimes before they happen. He adds that uscurrency.gov can be a good resource if you are unsure of a bill.
We tell people, definitely businesses, if you can get or purchase the bank pens, that's very good. And a lot of times the bill itself will give you a clue. I'm touching this one. It's very smooth to the touch, almost like it's got a coating on it. Obviously, real money doesn't have that. The blue security strip in it isn't shining. It's, if you hold it at an angle, you see it kind of reflect back at you. It says replica on it. Some of the graphics aren't correct for this kind of $100 bill. It's just a lot of clues, and we try to push people to uscurrency.gov. It's the U.S. Currency Education Program, and you can look at. They have tips on how to spot fakes if you don't have a pen. What you can really look for. Yeah, I mean, and that was, that's something every business kind of needs to take a look at, because what we're seeing is a lot of places are doing that. We don't accept anything over a 20. A lot of places are saying they don't take anything over a 50. So what we're seeing now is a lot of people are going to the 20 and $10 notes, counterfeiting those, because it's easier to push a 20 than it is maybe a 50 or 100.
Mm-hmm.
If you accidentally accept fake money at your business, Chief Bross indicates it cannot be recovered. He says if you have any suspicion of a customer attempting to fool you, call the police immediately.
Exactly. Yeah. So education is the biggest thing for us. If we can stop them from making that sale, then they aren't out anything. We also tell people, don't wait to call the police. Call us right away. I know that's easier said than done in some instances. Sometimes they'll argue with you. They'll yell and scream, say, no, it's real. It's real. I got this from the bank. So as soon as you think you suspect that maybe you have counterfeit money, give us a call, and then we can go out there and take a look at it. Luckily, the pool staff recognized this was a fake $100 bill. They let me know last night, so I'm going to talk to the kiddo and kind of have a conversation on why we don't do things like this.
The chief is urging young people not to give in to peer pressure, especially if it leads to a crime being committed.
And so, I mean, I've been a juvenile officer for 22 years. We work closely with the school resource officer here, mostly because it's my wife. But we see a lot of sometimes peer pressure, where you're with a group of friends. Hey, I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to be cool. This one, I believe he was alone. So it's just, hey, I'm going to see if I can't get away with it because, why not? And obviously, adults make mistakes and we don't, lock them up, throw away the key. Kids are no different. We try to counsel them and say, listen, we don't try to pass fake bills. This is very obviously fake. So we just need to make better choices. So we don't, go down the road and now they're 18 and now it is a criminal offense, to where they're getting a notice to appear in court or they're getting processed in jail. Man, we don't like seeing that. So if we can nip it in the bud and maybe have a just a little heart-to-heart with them, that's what we try to do, kind of from a counseling standpoint rather than a hammer down, enforcement part of it.
Keep up with all the latest updates and scam warnings from the Monticello Police Department by finding their Facebook page. You are listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
It's the quiet moments you count on. A call that connects instantly, a show that never buffers, a home that just works. That's the difference with Connexus Fiber Internet. We built a buried fiber network designed for consistency, earning us the title of top-rated fiber internet provider in Illinois. With plans starting as low as $25 a month and 3-year price lock options, it's reliability you can feel without the unpredictability. Because with Connexus, connection means everything. Experience better at Connexus.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at BaumChevyBuick.com right from the start.
News time is 21 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Central Illinois will start to feel the heat as we welcome the month of June. Ed Shimon with the National Weather Service in Lincoln explains that forecasts for June show above normal temperatures and equal chances of above or below normal precipitation.
Yeah, our June outlooks right now are showing up as above normal temperatures. Not, it's only in the 33 to 40% above normal trends there for temperatures. So not overly hot, but certainly a few of those days in June could creep up into the upper 80s, lower 90s as we would typically see. Moisture-wise, just shows equal chances, and really there's the whole expanse of the upper Midwest is just equal chances. The above normal precip is actually West Texas, New Mexico, and then the Florida, Georgia, Alabama area. So we're not really that close to above normal precip.
The region just recently climbed out of a months-long winter drought with some much-needed spring rains. Shimon indicates that the dry end of May could continue into the start of June. He notes some rain could pop up in the second week of the month.
May continue some somewhat dry conditions into June. Well, I know the first week of June is not really looking all that wet either. So, but we're probably going to open up some of the floodgates at some point just from statistical normals. If you have an omega block this long, somewhere in the second week of June, probably going to see a cold front come blasting through at some point to break the pattern. So I would suspect that somewhere in that 7 to 13 week of June, we'd be getting some storms again. The crops are really going to start to take off, and then when they get about 4 to 6 feet tall, the evapotranspiration really ramps up. as those especially the cornfields. The maturity of the cornfields drives how much additional humidity is in the air, and that sets the stage for some very, very humid July days. So, last half of June, really, when the crops really get going is, depending on how much rain we get in the first part of the month. But yeah, that's why we tend to see a July real high humidity and heat kind of a month once those crops get going.
While the temperatures are high, Shimon says we don't see a huge jump in average daytime highs during the month of June. Things go from around 80 degrees on average to 86 degrees from the start to the end of the month.
Yeah, normal high start of the month is 80 and the normal low is 58. It climbs a little bit. 86 is our normal high by the end of the month, with our normal low about 64. So temperatures only rise about 6 degrees through the month. But still, that's pretty nice. I mean, anything in the 80s with lows in the low 60s is pretty nice, so to speak. Rainfall wise, about 4.16 inches total for the month. So roughly an inch of rain a week is on average what we would typically see through the June timeframe. That's the June 21st. That's the longest sunlight day of the year, so to speak. But I think we have roughly about 14 hours of sunlight at that point in time. The solstice or the equinoxes are March 21st and September 21st, and that's when it's 12 hours and 12 hours. We tip the balance 2 hours more sunshine than nighttime. So we about roughly around 14 something hours of sunshine in that longest day of the year, sunlight wise.
Yeah. Keep it to the Heart Media Group as we hear from Shimon on the latest weather updates and news. Find more local weather forecasts and updates at weather.gov/Lincoln. Power bills are on the rise across Illinois, but the Citizens Utility Board reports that costs are not due to companies pocketing more money, but rather to data centers. CUB, an energy watchdog group, reports the utility summer rate from June through September is 10.39 cents per kilowatt hour. Jim Chilson, a spokesman for CUB, says the price of reserve power has skyrocketed, all due to power-hungry data centers.
Yeah, well, it's a combination of factors. Part of it is you've been reading the headlines about data centers, soaring energy demand caused by new and proposed data centers. That's definitely a factor. Also, we have long complained that this is due to an increase in the price for capacity, which is something can be very hard to understand. This is something that's not a line item on our bills, but it's wrapped into the supply price that we pay for electricity. And capacity is basically reserve power. Well, that is the price for capacity is determined by these auctions run by the big power grid operator for central and southern Illinois. That's a group called the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator. And because, for a number of reasons, part of it is because of data center demand, those capacity costs have gone through the roof. The other problem is that MISO, or this power grid operator, the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator, has a pricing methodology that we think too often compromises affordability. It leads to high prices.
For those who need assistance with their power bill, CUB recommends consumers visit helpillinoisfamilies.com. A senior USDA official provides examples of how the nation's ethanol industry is seeing significant gains in the global export market. Now for your local obituaries. Scott D. King, 67, of Clinton, Illinois, passed away unexpectedly on May 22nd, 2026. Private family graveside services will be held at Bethel Cemetery in Blue Mound, Illinois. A celebration of Scott's life will be 5 to 8 p.m. Saturday, June 13th at the Clinton Eagles Lodge in Clinton. The family entrusted Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton with cremation rights. Memorials may be directed to the Make-A-Wish Foundation or the Clinton Eagles Lodge, number 593. Online condolences may be made at calvertmemorial.com. Get news anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Another jolt for the tenuous U.S.-Iran ceasefire. The U.S. and Iran have traded fire again. At the same time, Israeli forces have pushed deeper into Lebanon, and they've been in more than a quarter century. They're going after Iranian proxy Hezbollah. Amid the uncertainty, President Trump insists that all will work out in the end. Backed by the UK, the French Navy has intercepted another Russia-linked oil tanker under international sanctions. Steps are being taken to address violent protests at a site in New Jersey's largest city, a curfew in effect around an ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures in positive territory so far. The Dow futures are up 234 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 90 points, and the S&P futures are up 21 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Colson Montgomery homered, and Tristan Peters' RBI single put Chicago ahead as the Chicago White Sox rallied with 2 runs in the 7th inning to beat the slumping Detroit Tigers 2-1 on Sunday for their 5th straight win.
The White Sox kept it close through the stretch, trailing 1-0, and then bam, Colson Montgomery opened the floodgates in the bottom of the 7th.
Montgomery 0 for 2, looking for one pitch to whack. Then he hits a fly ball out into right. Perez is back. He's at the fence. She's going to go. We're tied.
There's your pitch to whack.
Chase Mydroth and Jacob Gonzalez followed Colson's blast with a couple of singles, setting the table for Tristan Peters to knock home the go-ahead run.
0-2, hit on the ground, into left. Mydroth around third. He's going to score without a throw. They've got the lead.
The Sox have won 5 straight, finishing their homestand 6-1 as they hit the road Monday to take on the Minnesota Twins. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
The Sox will take on the Twins tonight in Minnesota. Hear the action on WHOW. Pregame starts at 6 p.m. Matthew Liberatore took a shutout into the 6th inning, and Mason Wynn hit a 2-run single as the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Chicago Cubs 5-1 on Sunday night. J.J. Weatherholt and Ivan Herrera each had 2 hits and scored twice for the Cardinals, who took 2 of 3 from their NL Central rivals after entering the series on a 4-game losing streak. Alec Burleson drove in 2 runs. Alex Bregman homered for the Cubs, who are 3-2 since a 10-game skid. Liberatore is 3-3 and allowed 3 hits and 1 walk in 5 1/3 scoreless innings after giving up at least 3 runs in each of his previous 3 starts. He also struck out 4. Hunter Dobbins relieved the Liberatore hours after being recalled from AAA Memphis and yielded 1 run on 4 hits with 4 strikeouts over 3 2/3 innings for his first professional save. Bregman hit his 5th homer this season to left field off his former Boston teammate in the 6th to spoil the shutout and extend his hitting streak to 11 games. Burleson blooped an RBI single off reliever Ethan Roberts that landed just in front of left fielder Ian Happ to make it 3-0 in the 3rd. Wynn added a 2-run single that extended the margin to 5-0. Jordan Walker had an RBI single for the Cardinals in a 2-run first inning. Jordan Wicks is 0-2 and was charged with 3 runs and 4 hits in 2+ innings. He was removed after Weatherholt reached on an infield single leading off the 3rd. St. Louis opened a 2-0 lead after Weatherholt, Herrera, and Walker all singled to start the bottom of the 1st. Cubs right-hander Jamison Talon faces Athletics lefty Gage Jump to open a 6-game homestand on Tuesday night, while Cardinals right-hander Michael McGreevy faces Rangers right-hander Jacob deGrom to begin a 3-game series Monday night. In scores from around the MLB on Sunday, the Baltimore Orioles beat the Toronto Blue Jays 9-5, while the Pittsburgh Pirates took down the Minnesota Twins 9-3. The Washington Nationals beat the San Diego Padres 4-2, while the Cincinnati Reds beat the Atlanta Braves 6-4. The Boston Red Sox took down the Cleveland Guardians 9-4, while the Tampa Bay Rays beat the LA Angels 5-2. The New York Mets routed the Miami Marlins 10-1, while the Milwaukee Brewers shut out the Houston Astros 2-0. The Texas Rangers beat the Kansas City Royals 6-3, while the San Francisco Giants romped the Colorado Rockies 19-6. The New York Yankees beat the Athletics 13-8, while the Seattle Mariners beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 3-2 in 10 innings, and the LA Dodgers beat the Philadelphia Phillies 9-1. In a game heard on WHOW, the Maroa-Forsyth Trojans rallied late and walked off the Clinton Maroons 2-1 in a Class 2A regional championship matchup on Saturday afternoon in Clinton. Leadoff hitter Jackson Reynolds was hit by a pitch on a 3-0 count in the top of the 1st for Clinton. 2 sacrifice outs advanced Reynolds to 3rd, who scored on a wild pitch before Brock Wilson flew out to center to end the inning with a 1-0 lead. The Maroons would hold their lead until the bottom of the 6th when Gunnar Larner led off with a walk for Maroa-Forsyth. 2 batters later, Colby Parrott hit a ground ball and reached on an error that allowed courtesy runner Callan Rikus to tie the game at 1-1. In the bottom of the 7th, with 2 outs on the board, Cooper Wise hit a walk-off single over the head of right fielder Cole Fentress, scoring Camden Trendler from 3rd. Reynolds was 0 for 3 on the day with the lone run for Clinton. Stone Stith had a 2 for 3 day at the plate, while Xander Reynolds and Brock Wilson also added hits. Wilson threw 6 2/3 innings of 2-run ball, issuing 5 strikeouts, walking 7, and permitting 3 hits. Cooper Massey allowed 1 hit as he finished the final inning in relief. Wise was 2 for 4 with an RBI for the Trojans. Ace Giles was 1 for 3 with a run scored, while Grady Rose was also 1 for 3. Trendler pitched 4 innings, allowing 3 hits, 3 walks, and an unearned run, and striking out 2. Caden Blunt came in for 3 innings of relief, striking out 4 and allowing 1 hit. With the win, Maroa-Forsyth improves to 23-9-1 and advances to Wednesday's sectional semifinal against Tolono Unity in Monticello. Clinton finishes the season 21-14. In a game heard on WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com, Tyler Henry was brilliant on the mound, facing only 2 over the minimum, and shut out Monticello in a 6-0 Class 2A Regional Championship victory Saturday in Monticello. Henry struck out 4, walked 3, and permitted just 1 hit in a complete game shutout effort on Saturday. He benefited from a pickoff and caught stealing that mitigated 2 of the 4 Sage's base runners on the afternoon. The Rockets took advantage of Sage's miscues in the bottom of the first to go up 3-0. Braden Henry broke the game open in the 6th with a 3-run homer to put Unity up 6-0. The Rockets go to 25-8 overall and advance to the Monticello Sectional on Wednesday, taking on Maroa-Forsyth. The Sages end their campaign with a final record of 30-5. Luke Martin was excellent on the mound Saturday, leading Mount Pulaski to a 3-1 win over Heyworth to capture a Class 1A regional championship from the Mount Pulaski Regional. Martin struck out 5, walked 1, and allowed just 1 hit in 7 innings. Trace Roberts was the only Hilltopper with multiple hits, going 2 for 4. Aaron Voley, Tyler Cross, and Carter Clark drove in runs for Mount Pulaski. Braxton Denning was 2 for 3 to lead Heyworth. Tristan Crow drove in the only run for the Hornets, going 1 for 3 with a double. He worked around 5 walks, going 4 2/3 innings with 6 strikeouts and permitted 3 runs. The Hornets finished their season 14-13 overall. The Mount Pulaski goes to 22-11 overall and will take on Lexington Wednesday night at 7 p.m. in Bloomington at Illinois Wesleyan in a Class 1A sectional semifinal. A run-scoring wild pitch in the bottom of the 6th inning plated the 10th and game-ending run for Normal Community as the Ironmen rolled Moline 10-0 in a run rule Class 4A regional championship rout on Saturday in Moline. Max Heineman and Luke Beatty each doubled and drove in 2 for Normal Community. Hank Baldwin singled in a run in the bottom of the 6th inning. Carter Harris and Gavin Swartz each recorded RBIs. Josh Jones fired 5 1/3 innings of shutout ball with 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and permitted just 3 hits. The Ironmen go to 32-2 overall. They take on Minnook on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. at Duffy Bass Field on the campus of Illinois State University at 6 p.m. Champaign Central scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning, pulling away late from Normal West for a Class 3A regional championship on Saturday at the Champaign Central Regional. The Maroons were up 3-1 to put the game out of reach with 3 straight run-scoring hits. Sam McCulley had the only RBI on the afternoon for the Wildcats, who mustered just 3 hits against 3 Champaign Central pitchers. Normal West finishes the season 23-15 overall. In high school baseball regional championship scores from Saturday, in Class 1A, the top-seeded Tremont shut out 5th seed Fieldcrest 6-0, while 4th seeded Gibson City Melvin Sibley beat 2nd seed Milford 5-2. 7th seeded Athens upset 3rd seeded Decatur St. Teresa 11-7, while 1 seed Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond beat 3rd seeded Neoga 19-7. 4th seeded Oka Valley also took down 2nd seed Tuscola 3-0. In Class 2A, top-seeded St. Joseph Ogden shut out 5th seeded Bismarck Henning in a run rule 10-0 victory. 2nd seeded Tri-Valley beat 5th seed Pana 9-5, and top seeded Pleasant Plains took down 4th seed Rochester 4-1. In Class 3A, 1 seed Chatham Glenwood beat 5th seed Mount Zion 2-1, while the 2nd seeded East Peoria shut out the 3rd seed Washington 3-0. And the 2nd seeded Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin beat Springfield High 4-1. while 1-seeded Normal University routed the 4th-seeded Rantoul 9-0. In high school softball, Super Sectional Championship matchups for today in Class 1A. Top-seeded Meridian takes on the 3rd-seed Wilmington at Illinois Wesleyan at 4 p.m. In Class 2A, 6th-seed Bloomington Central Catholic takes on 1-seed Williamsville at Milliken in Decatur at 4 p.m. And in Class 3A, top-seeded Chatham-Glenwood will take on 1-seed Washington again at Milliken, this time at 6 p.m. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times today, with daytime highs approaching 84. Winds out of the east, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 57. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Ample sunshine expected. Tomorrow, highs level off around 80. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Right now, it's 64 degrees.
Let's check Ag News on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Delos Yonke. The Federal Trade Commission launched an antitrust investigation into the concentrated fertilizer industry and its pricing power, according to FTC Chair Andrew Ferguson last week, saying, quote, USDA has shown the single largest increase in input costs for farmers across the United States since 2020 has come from fertilizer, unquote. Speaking to commodity group representatives from 18 states during an event held in Texas, adding, quote, these continued price increases are not something our nation, much less our farmers, can continue to ignore, unquote.